The Oyo State Governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, represented by the Secretary to the State Government, Professor Musbah Babatunde, joined other sons and daughters of Ibadan land at the Lake Salami Stadium at Damasinga, Ibadan, to celebrate the 2026 Ibadan Week Cultural Festival. In his address, Engineer Seyi Makinde assured residents of his administration's commitment to creating more opportunities that will elevate the festival to greater prominence, while reiterating his government's dedication to security and development. Governor Makinde would describe the event as a colorful celebration, reaffirmed ongoing efforts to safeguard lives and property, alongside continued investment in road infrastructure, health, and education across the Oyo State.
Governor Abiodun Seyi Makinde, the executive governor for your state, he congratulates all of us who are indigenous of Ibadan on this colorful celebration, and making it that is appealing to us to continue to live together in peace, and it's assuring us that by next year it's going to be more colorful than this. And as much as possible, all the opportunities will be created for all the indigenous of Ibadan to be able to accept and then take this further.
The event featured rich display of Ibadan culture by indigenous groups, families, and compounds. Olalekan Sulaiman, BCOS News.
As the rainy season sets in, it is crucial for your state residents to adhere rigorously to the warnings and guidelines provided by the authorities to mitigate potential disasters. The Assistant Director of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Oyo State, Mr. Lanre Kazim, made this known during a chat with BCOS News regarding disaster management for the season. BCOS reporter Olamiposi Ishola has the details.
Undoubtedly, the rainy season has begun, bringing with its various advantages and challenges. Among the challenges are health issues and floods, which typically result in loss of life and property damage. Oyo State faces significant flood risks in major local governments. One's National Emergency Management Agency, in a chat with BCOS News, Assistant Director NEMA Oyo State, Mr. Lanre Kazim, said the agency is collaborating with the state authorities to mitigate the risks.
Most time during the rainy season, we always have lots of properties and lives, and we need to prevent that, and most especially to even mitigate against the effect of those things. And that is why the meeting started right before the rainy season. So we want our people generally to listen to most of the activities and programs we have for them via media and even on social media and through other programs like creation of awareness by making use of our core members, the Emergency Management Vanguards, meeting with the Market Women, Market Men Association, and everybody. Let me just use the word everybody because we know that when disaster occurs, it affects everybody, not just one person. So we are trying as much as possible to create the awareness for people to know when and what they are to do when disaster.
Residents in low-lying communities prone to flooding are advised to relocate and prepare heavy rainfall and potential flash floods.
We always encourage the landlord association community leaders to sensitize their people first so that it will not even happen. And if eventually it happens, they know where to report, and they always advise to move to a safer place first because their lives matter before the coming in of disaster managers and other stakeholders who will come to their rescue. So it's important that they should know how they should escape or how they can escape to a safer place when it happens. But we are always encouraging for us to mitigate the effect of these flood disasters instead of allowing it to happen at all.
While seeking ongoing support, the agency cautioned individuals to refrain from engaging in hazardous behaviors that could cause catastrophic consequences during this period. Olami Posi Ishola, BCOS News.
As Nigeria continues to grapple with persistent electricity challenges, individuals and state governments are increasingly turning to alternative energy solutions to complement the national grid. In Oyo State, the government is intensifying investments in solar power to enhance energy access and reduce dependence on conventional electricity sources. Staff reporter Gbemisola Adebayo examines the prospects and challenges of solar energy, as well as the measures being implemented by the state government to drive this transition.
Nigeria's epileptic power supply continues to impact livelihoods, disrupt businesses, and in critical cases, hinder essential services, particularly in healthcare facilities where consistent electricity is indispensable. Amid these challenges, solar energy is gaining traction across homes, businesses, and institutions due to its potential to provide cleaner, more reliable, and sustainable power. Our solar energy vendor, engineer Samuel Fuminiyi, notes that solar technology is becoming increasingly cost-effective when compared to the cumulative expenses of electricity tariffs and fuel consumption for generators. He adds that with proper energy management and the emergence of solar-compatible appliances, installation and usage have become more efficient.
On powering your apartments with air condition, TV, fan, and light, you can actually just spend less than 1.5 million naira and you can still power air condition, lights, fan, and TV. So a lot of users are still, a lot of Nigerians are still not aware about the power consumption and how they need to manage and maximize and take advantage of the fact that we have new technologies of appliances that consume way less of energy. So I feel like you think it's just a kind of solar education that is required to educate people on how to manage power and how to, use power. For me, solar is not expensive. Solar is very affordable, and I think literally currently I think a lot of homes right now, at least, even if you can't afford to buy a solar or power TV, you should be able to afford to buy a solar or power 3 point of light in your apartments, which is still enough compared to back over 5 years ago. There are people turn on generators just to cook, just turn on lights for kids to do assignments or just to cook food in the house. So for me, my own experience, I don't think solar is expensive. Solar is very affordable.
On battery storage, Engineer Fumini explained that advancements in technology are steadily improving the lifespan of solar systems, with ongoing developments in lithium batteries expected to last between 20 and 30 years. In Oyo State, the Commissioner for Energy, Professor Daoud Tongodoyin, noted that the government has initiated targeted solar projects aimed at addressing power challenges in public institutions and critical infrastructure. He also revealed that the Ibadan Light Up project is gradually being phased out and replaced with solar-powered systems to provide more suitable street lighting across the city.
Also improve on the night economy. The street lights, that one will improve greatly. Our light economy is also part of the infrastructure for security, because once there's light at night, you can move around freely, and the risk is lesser than when there's no light. Then the other one is that we will reduce the deficiency that we have in terms of access to electricity when it's in place, because embedded generation with solar and some other sources will bring electricity to homes, to industries, to communities. So, of course, it means we create more jobs.
Professor Songodoyin also disclosed that solar farms are being developed in strategic locations across Ibadan, while investors continue to show growing interest in hybrid power generation.
Our solar farms, which we use to power high-mast floodlights. The high-mast floodlights that we have completed are at Technical University end. That's bridge 1. And when you drive down to Padeku, that bridge 6, we have it there. It's being powered by LPG, that's liquefied petroleum gas, and solar. And there's another one at Onipepoye. If you are going to Onipepoye after BCOS station, you find it there. So it's our solar farm powered already by solar and the gas. So we're moving on to doing that. And once we completed our 12 megawatt, which is gas, then, like I mentioned earlier, some of the street lights will be powered by gas, not
Observers, however, maintain that while solar energy may not entirely resolve Nigeria's power challenges, it represents a significant step towards achieving a more stable, reliable, and sustainable energy future for both Oyo State and the nation at large. Bimsola Adebayo, BCOS News.
We have another short commercial break. Please don't go anywhere.
In today's fast-paced world, staying ahead demands peak performance from our bodies.
Like never before, our bodies need an optimum supply of essential nutrients, and Supermalt supports our daily nutritional needs.
Supermalt has 20 essential vitamins, minerals, and natural extracts for overall health and wellness. One Supermalt a day gives you energy and vitality, improves your mental performance, and supports your immunity.
My skin is my identity, my strength. It's unique and deserves care made specially for me. New Nivea Radiant and Beauty Even Glow, enriched with 95% pure vitamin C and pulp extract. For visibly radiant and even-toned skin in just 2 weeks. New Nivea Radiant and Beauty Even Glow, for your shade of beautiful.
Glad to know you're still there. The need for greater youth participation in governance has again been brought to the fore as stakeholders call for increased involvement of young people in politics and nation building. This formed the focus of discussions at the maiden edition of Tribune Discourse organized by the Nigeria Union of Journalists, Tribune Chapel. Our reporter, Fedora Afolaboye, has more.
Of Tribune Discourse held at Imale Falafia Ibadan headquarters of Tribune Titles brought together media professionals and political stakeholders. To deliberate on issues of national development and youth engagement, fielding questions from panelists, the Oyo State Coordinator of the City Boys Movement, Chief Ahmed Ajibola, described the initiative as a wake-up call to sensitize Nigerian youth on the need to actively participate in politics and governance. He explained that the City Boys Movement, founded in 2022, is designed to bridge the gap between leadership and the grassroots, with a view to encouraging youth involvement in societal development. Chief Ajibola clarified that the City Boys Movement is not limited to elite youth, noting that it is open to all individuals who are informed and interested in societal issues.
When we look at what we have in the City Boys Movement, people that are very young, we have our DG, a very young person. Look at the state executive, the state coordinator, myself. I'm very young, so this movement is encouraging youth. There's no discrimination because we're young, so it's accommodating for the youth, and the movement is pushing young people to go out there and participate actively in politics. So the movement is advocating for the youth and giving the youth a platform where their voice can be heard.
On governance at the state level, Chief Ajibola noted that while Oyo State Governor Engineer Seyi Makinde has recorded notable achievements, there is a need for capable successors who can build on existing progress.
We are engaging the youth, we are creating opportunities for the youth. We are trying to make sure that the youth are actively involved in nation building. And we have a lot of plans to sustain the movement even beyond 2027, 2031. It's a structure that we have a lot of people on board, so we can't just waste the structure. Once the election is over, we continue and we keep on with the good work we're doing.
Earlier in a welcome address, the chairman of the NUJ Tribune Chapel, Ms. Bumi Ishola, disclosed that the vision of Tribune Discourse is to bring together key stakeholders across various sectors of society to deliberate on trending issues and national developments. She added that the maiden edition marks the beginning of a series that will be held on a regular basis.
Tribune Discourse is a program whereby we have the intention of making the public know what is on ground, politically, socially, economically, and in all ramifications, for them to be able to know what is on ground via our public figures. And now we are presently in the political dispensation. Many people want to know what is on ground from every political movement or political parties. So this is a program whereby I want to be bringing them to your doorstep.
An interactive session followed, during which questions were entertained, allowing participants to seek clarification on issues relating to the City Boy movement. An award was presented to Chief Ahmed Ajibola, and the program concluded with group photographs. Fedora Afolagwe, BCOS News.
The government has been urged to strengthen investment in the treatment of hemophilia by equipping federal hospitals with modern diagnostic facilities through automation. Experts say this will reduce the cost of drugs and improve access to care for patients. A consultant hematologist at the University College Hospital, Ibadan, Professor Taiwo Kotila, alongside the coordinator of the Hemophilia Treatment Center, UCH, Oluwasegun Anjorin, made the call while speaking on hemophilia, challenges, diagnosis, and new treatments on BCOS TV's magazine program, Saturday Special. Olamide Olabi reports.
World Hemophilia Day is marked annually on April 17 to raise awareness about hemophilia and other inherited bleeding disorders. Speaking on BCOS TV Saturday Special program, consultant hematologist at UCH, Professor Taiwo Kotila, described hemophilia as a rare inherited bleeding disorder that mostly affects males but is transmitted through the maternal line. She explained that the condition impairs the body's ability to clot blood effectively and stressed that it is not contagious. Professor Kotila noted that diagnosis involves screening tests such as partial thromboplastin time and protomy time, as well as factor assays to determine whether cases are mild, moderate, or severe for appropriate treatment. She added that nearly 90% of patients are unable to afford the high cost of treatment.
Inherited from either parents or both parents, but in case of hemophilia, you inherit it from one parent. It's a bleeding disorder in that within our system, God has made it such that our blood does not clot whilst we are moving around seated. Then our blood remains in a fluid state. And then when we have cuts, there are factors in our blood that seals up where the cut is so that we do not continue to bleed excessively from the site of injury. But in people with hemophilia, one of those factors is deficient. And so that's why they bleed when they have a cut until you use a factor, you give that factor that is deficient. Then depending on the severity, for some they have factor, it's just that it is low level. So as the body builds up the level of the factor, the bleeding may get arrested on its own. But if there is another trauma or if the place is moved, the bleeding can start again.
Also speaking, the coordinator of Hemophilia Treatment Center, UCH, Oluwasegun Anjorin, who is living with the condition, shared his personal experience. He said although hemophilia is not inherently fatal, it can become life-threatening if poorly managed. According to him, symptoms often appear in childhood, especially after circumcision, when bleeding may persist for several days and can limit participation in strenuous physical activities.
Well, I'm lucky. She said about different stage. We have moderate, we have severe, we have mild. My own is mild. I still have some clotting factor in my system, so I don't really have problem like that. But before it was discovered that I'm hemophilia, I have a brother that died, last born in the family. He had an accident. He was rushed to the hospital, but they don't know. Nobody could tell them that time that he's an hemophilia, so that they will know how to handle him. From the child, as soon as the child is circumcised, that is the first time you discover after the test that this child is an hemophilia, because the bleeding will not stop. The difference between, let me tell you, the difference between an hemophilia patient and other disease is just the bleeding. There is no other thing. They live normal life, just like you. They can do any other thing except extreme physical activities. Where when they stress a particular part of their body, they will bleed into that part.
The experts emphasize that hemophilia is not a death sentence and encourage patients to seek proper medical care to live healthy and productive lives. Olamide Owolabi, BCOS News.
Family members, friends, and associates gathered at Oluyori village in Pagun, Ibadan to mark the first anniversary of the passing of activist, politician, and advocate Princess Olabisi Sango-Doyin. The remembrance, organized by her widower, Magaji Oluyori Alhaji Fatai Sango-Doyin, featured prayers, tributes, and reflection over life and legacy. Staff reporter Bimisala Adebayo has the details.
The solemn event brought together dignitaries and well-wishers who paid tribute to the late Princess Olabisi Sango-Doyin, describing her as a woman devoted to service, justice, and community development. Delivering a short exhortation, Pastor Ezekiel Adioye emphasized the importance of living in the fear of God and abiding by His word, noting that a purposeful life leaves behind a lasting legacy. One is said the deceased clearly exemplified.
As a leader, at every position we find ourselves, we should rule with the fear of God, because the Bible says the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. So in everything we do, we must rule and live our lives in a way that we know that we are going to give account to God, and we have to fear God in all our conduct.
Family members, including her daughter, Professor Amoke Olasumiju, and sister, Prophetess Adedoyin Shitu, remembered her as a pillar of strength and a guiding light whose impact continues to resonate within the family and beyond.
My mom still remains a very solid backbone. We're really struggling with our physical absence, but there's nothing we can do, but we have solace. That the last day, we're going to be together in union at the feet of Jesus Christ. But till then, we're going to live according to the way she has taught us, to love ourselves wholeheartedly and to continue to seek peace and good of other people.
What will I want to say about her? She's a devoted woman who loves her family very much. She can sacrifice anything for anybody. She doesn't know how to hold back. She gives everything out, just the way we were being brought up. And she's a good Christian.
Other speakers at the event highlighted her contributions to political and humanitarian causes, noting that her influence remains deeply felt across the community. Late Princess Olabisi Sango-Doyin was a Nigerian community figure known for her roles as an activist, politician, and advocate, particularly within Ibadan and its surrounding areas in Oyo State. A former member of the BCOS, she was widely regarded as a grassroots mobilizer who championed social justice, community development, and welfare of women as well as vulnerable groups. Princess Olabisi Sango-Doyin, who died on the 18th April 2025, is survived by her husband, Mogaji Oluyori, Alhaji Fatai Sagodoyin, children and grandchildren. Bimsola Adebayo, BCOS News.
May her gentle soul continue to rest in peace. Over now to the sports segment of the news. Please stay tuned.
Good evening and welcome to the sports segment. I am Buluwaji Ogumola.
Nigeria's D Tigers will discover their group opponents for the 2026 FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup next week, Tuesday. The draw for the competition will hold in Berlin, Germany. The 16 qualified teams will be divided into 4 groups based on their FIBA Women's World Ranking. D Tigers are seeded in Pot 2 alongside China, Belgium, and Spain. And our Wakama's side, as part of their preparations for the tournament, started a training tour in the United States of America on Thursday. The African champions will face WNBA teams Los Angeles Spark, Minnesota Lynx, and Indiana Fever in friendlies during the training tour. The 2026 FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup will run from September 14 to 13. Coventry City became the first championship team to gain promotion to the Premier League this season. Frank Lampard's side sealed a return to the top flight after 25 years, thanks to a 1-0 draw with Blackburn Rovers on Friday night. It appeared their promotion would be delayed after the host took the lead through Yoya Morishita, but Bobby Thomas rose late to head in a free kick to get a point they needed to get over the line. After 30 relegations, 15 different permanent managers, including Mark Robbins twice, and 4 different grounds, Coventry are back in the Premier League. Chelsea playmaker Cole Palmer has debunked speculations claiming he will leave the club for Manchester United this summer. Palmer is being linked with a move away from Stamford Bridge amid rumours he is now unsettled. The 23-year-old joined Chelsea in 2023 in a £40 million move from Manchester City. But Palmer, speaking to the UK Guardian, insisted he will stay at Chelsea. Palmer is confident the club can challenge for serious trophies next season if the right players in the right positions are signed this summer. Chelsea face Manchester United in the Premier League fixture tonight. Finally, Frenchman Hervé Renard have confirmed that he has been relieved of his duties as coach of Saudi Arabia less than 2 months before the start of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The 57-year-old returned for a second spell as Saudi coach at the end of 2024, having led them to the last World Cup in Qatar, including a famous win over eventual champions Argentina in the group stage. Renard, a 2-time African Cup of Nations winner with Zambia and Ivory Coast, led Saudi Arabia from 2019 to 2023 before being replaced by Roberto Mancini. He served as coach of the French women's team and reached the quarterfinals of both the 2023 Women's World Cup and 2024 Olympics. Renard was later brought back by Saudi Arabia to succeed Mancini as the Italian left his role after an underwhelming 14-month stint. Saudi Arabia will face Spain, Uruguay, and Cape Verde in Group H at this year's FIFA World Cup.
And that's sports this evening. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Buluwaji. On the foreign scene, Iran says it has closed the Strait of Hormuz again, calling the decision a response to a continued blockade of its ports by the United States. Foreign Desk Editor Flashadi Akintola compiled the story and others, now presented by Bimbo Akombi.
The Iranian military on Saturday said control of the strategic waterway through which 20% of the global oil flows has returned to its previous state, with reports saying Iranian gunboats fired at a merchant vessel as it attempted to cross. The closure of the strait came hours after it was reopened, with more than a dozen commercial ships passing through the waterway, after a U.S.-mediated 10-day ceasefire deal was reached between Israel and Lebanon. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps on Saturday said in a statement cited by the Iranian media that the ongoing U.S. blockade of Iranian ports represented acts of piracy and maritime theft, adding that the control over Hormuz is under the strict management and control of the armed forces. By 10:30 GMT on Saturday, no fewer than 8 oil and gas tankers had crossed the strait, but at least as many ships appeared to have turned back, having begun to exit the Gulf. The towing and froing over the strait cast doubt on US President Donald Trump's optimism the day before that a peace deal to end the US-Israel war on Iran was very close. Police have arrested a man in Melbourne after a car mounted a curb and drove into pedestrians, killing one. A grey Toyota struck 2 pedestrians on Langs Road in the Ascottville suburb just before 1700 local time on Saturday, Victoria Police said. One pedestrian died at the scene and the second was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Police said the circumstances surrounding the collision had not yet been established and the arrested man was due to be interviewed. Local media reported the crash happened outside the Melbourne Showgrounds, which had been hosting a gaming event. Pictures of the scene showed a police cordon around the vehicle, which appeared to have visible damage. And finally, 15 people deported from the United States who are reportedly from South America have arrived in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. This is the first group of an unknown number of people that the US has expelled, which the DR Congo had agreed to take in. The government in Kinshasa has stressed that their stay in the country is only temporary and that Washington is funding their reception, support, and care. The US has already sent deportees to several other African countries, including Ghana, South Sudan, and Eswatini, as part of the crackdown on immigration. Earlier this month, when details of the deportation deal first emerged, the Congolese government said the decision to receive what are known as third country migrants, that is, those who come from neither the sending nor receiving nation, aligns with its commitment to human dignity, to protecting the rights of migrants and international solidarity. The Congolese authorities also said that the scheme was not a permanent relocation mechanism or an outsourcing of migration policies. Bimbo Akambi, BCOS News.
To end news around the world, here again are the top stories. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAM, has announced the arrest of 2 candidates and a parent over the alleged falsification of results in the 2026 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, raising fresh concerns about examination malpractice in the country's tertiary admission process. As the rainy season sets in, the Assistant Director of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Oyo State, says it is crucial for residents to adhere rigorously to the warnings and guidelines provided by the authorities to mitigate potential disasters. On the foreign scene, Iran says it has closed the Strait of Hormuz again, calling the decision a response to the continued blockade of its ports by the United States. The BCOS website is live. Kindly visit us at www.bcostv.com. You can also watch us on GoTV, channel 134, and on StarTimes, channel 113. Now, before I go, make sure you play safe in everything you do. That's the news around the world. Many thanks for watching. Good night.